Hello, everyone, and my name is Igor Tomic, and today we are listening in the new episode of Weekly Harvest with me and my co-host Dimitro. Hello, Dimitro.
Hello, Igor. Nice to see you again. And it's the end of a week. So soon we will say happy weekend.
Yeah, and it's a good week to start with the really interesting news that we collected specifically for you. And one of the biggest that we think is important for everyone to know that Danish Council, which is right now heading and leading the innovations in European Union. They restarted the PSD3 talks, and in July it's going to be the revamp of the discussion over the PSD3. And I think it's really important because it will influence how we're doing the payments in European Union. And what do you think about that, Dimitri? Like what you heard? If this sparked a thought, challenged an assumption, or gave a new angle on fintech, hit subscribe, drop a comment with your take, and share it with someone who'd appreciate a smarter fit. Let's grow stronger insights together.
Danish presidency of European Union is an interesting shift from Hungary because it's absolutely a total wave, a total vibe even. We will see. I mean, Danish legislation is very specific one. It's very a harsh one sometimes, but it's very aiming to protect people, aiming to protect the data. This is not the single thing that they are developing. They also are inserting a legislation that the face and the fingerprints and everything what's a part of the body of a specific person will be copyrighted by legislation. It will allow all of us to fight against deep fakes and so on. But coming back to the PSD3, PSD3 is a topic we have for months and months and years. I hope it will be under Danish presidency. We will see a shift, but we have to understand that this is not only about the Danish presidency. This is also about it's a lot. Some international payment systems are also very much involved in this. It's Mastercard. Mastercard, by the way, is doing quite. They are involving quite a lot in this in the PSD3 um, application. I mean, settle up the legal framework and application. So they basically understanding what's coming, Mastercard is rolling out new rules that are affected, for example, from 2025. So it means that they'll have to. It means that they requires all the acquirers to register all submergence IDs with detailed information, including legal names, type of business, everything. It will impact a lot of PSP marketplaces, especially. It already impacted, by the way, and adding a compliance and technical burden. But it's the thing that we will see also in PSD3. So Mastercard anticipated this, and this is what we already see. For example, Mastercard framework. I'm sure Visa will implement something similar. And Danish presidency is just what they're doing is just takes everything what is discussing on the halls, discussing in briefs, on drafts of a document. It will be they're just taking and push it. I hope under Danish presidency we will see at least the final draft of PSD3, and at least we will see that the framework will be already discussed in commissions.
And important highlight, especially for me, what we see that actually SEPA is really good protocol. Like there are several settlement networks with the different fees, with the different speed. But what is important, and neobanks actually educated us that referencing the specific customer is pretty interesting process, because if you're referencing by the IBAN, you actually cannot check who's you are sending to. And then we see other examples like in neobanks, usually you can pull up your contact list and then send to the specific person. Usually it's done by matching the phone number and account within a specific bank. But what we're lacking is really good infrastructure for checking the receiver or cross bank. Like if I'm sending to the specific person, why is this trying to do so? Like when you are receiving the information or where you're going to send the funds, usually you can kind of pull the page of the specific wise persons, initiate the payment. But it's all one bank or one fintech infrastructure approach. And PSD3 is pushing a lot the IBAN verification of the receiver. so you can actually know the person who are sending to. And a lot of scams exist because the payment infrastructure is not providing a really up-to-date visibility who you send it to. And it's really important because then we will have more robust payments, because if I'm sending to Dimitro, then during the IBAN specification, I will confirm that I'm sending to the Dimitro. I will see the receiver, or at least some kind of confirmation that Dimitro is having it. And it's really important. And in this case, there is a lot of sections with the different approaches, how to enhance TPPs, like the integration for the third parties who are leveraging the open banking infrastructure, starting the payments, about the token life. So a lot of things which are sitting on the legal, I would say, layer. But in the end of the day, they will influence the technical implementation, and technical implementation will influence how, as a customers, we're interacting with the European infrastructure, which is really important. We have a lot of places where we can have enhancements in day by day usage of the banking infrastructure.
Basically, the weak point of everything we have currently is payment facilitators. Payment facilitators. This scheme allow us and our game players this game to put to transmit the KC burden on shoulders of others. And because of payment facilitators are not very strong in KC, sometimes it can create quite a huge problems, and the identification is very, very important. It seems like the PSPs they will switch to other acquirers who will be able to provide the technical and product part what is required by the PSD3, or it will clean up a little bit of the market. But yeah, it's a harsh moving, but we will see good results here. And we as a final customers, we will be only in plus. I mean, we will win from this situation. Unfortunately, business will have to invest time and money in things they somehow forgot to pay attention. It's KC, it's identification, stronger compliance. Yeah, it's a very good thing.
And I will bring another overlap here. It's a Zelle network, because in the United States, if you compare, there are always the same kind of issue. You can reference the customer by the routing code, which is a little bit even more tricky because one bank has a lot of different routing codes depending on the state. And then a lot of scams exist like that. Like someone is writing you to send the money, and then the receiver is different. So in United States, there is kind of similar, not the PSD3 as a legislation, but as a payment network, there is a new, which is started to exist in 2017, the network Zelle. And we see that a lot of pushes are there to bring the Zelle network to union banks, to the credit institutions, to protect the customers, because when you're sending, in this case, you are using as a reference number email or the phone number, and you can actually see that the person is verified on the Zelle, which makes the payments more protected. And what is more important is real-time payments. So you can do the payments or split the bill or pay the debt to your friend, or I don't know, send the money for the gift much easier and much simpler. So it's a good, like, a trend that we see worldwide, that the payments are shifting from banking infrastructure as it used to be with the codes, numbers, as a full phone calls, to more FaceTime, like we're using the phone number or the ID rather than like something that is harder to verify and understand who's on other end of the communication. So it's a good move, and it's a really good news that Danish council is pushing it a lot, and we will see a lot of results in upcoming months and years. Okay,
This is
that's a really good one.
this is the situation when uh, innovations are coming from Europe to United States and vice versa.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
right the same thing with Starling Bank. Starling Bank from
yeah.
the UK. They are so for those who don't know, it's UK leading digital challenger. So it's quite an important player, but they're running for an IPO in the United States. So European innovations goes to United States to take the money from the United States because United States, it's still a good place to hunt some money. This is the trend we have from Wise, from Klarna, from a lot of players. Um, Someone will tell that this reflects a growing concerns among UK tech firms about the capital market conditions in the United Kingdom, about the limited investor appetite in London. But I think it's more about the opportunities. We have to recognize that United States, an IPO in United States can provide much more capital, can provide much more. People have a bigger risk appetite there. Investors have a bigger risk appetite, and they are ready to invest. And United States funds, hedge funds, venture capitalists, they are hunting European companies because they want to import in the United States the innovation. And via the IPO, it's a very absolutely nice synergy. European innovations with American money. By the way, it's not the first time in history when this things happens. And by the way, not the first time between United Kingdom and the United States. But it's a strong signal that there exists a synergy and America is looking for European innovations. And well, currently for us, it's not innovations anymore. It's already good practice. But for them, this is innovations. And for them, it's very cheap. At the end, it's very cheap just to take and buy, even with billions and hundreds of billions, to take and buy existing solutions that were worked cross-borderly in European Union and European continent as it is, and to apply it to United States.
Yeah, that's true. And it brings us to the third news, and it's really good one. Unicredit is partnering with Device to implement the FX and cross-border payments in European Union. And we have a lot of discussions on the conferences and private talks. There is a huge competition between high street banks, retail banks, and fintechs, and it's hot. Like a lot of discussions, what new banks like Revolut, Starling, Monzo, and 26 bring into the market. They competing over the consumer, and it's really good example when we see a partnership rather than competition, because Unicredit understood and realized that they can actually rely on the fintech infrastructure for FX and faster and cheaper transfers compared to what retail banks were trying to build for decades. And instead of kind of build or buy, you have versus a partnership. And my hope that we will see much more partnerships, and actually it overlaps with the stable coins, because once again the big retail banks, they have a huge appetite to utilize stable coins, and usually it's done by the fintechs. So is it a beginning of the new era when we see the end of the fight and more collaboration, because the market shifts a lot, the consumer's expectations shifts a lot. The strong cornerstones that we've seen for decades, like a Swift, it seems that the banks understood that innovations flow into the market, and it's going to change the structure how the retails are working with the fintechs. What do you think about this, Dimitri?
It's a so B2B2C fintech wave. This is a big, that acronym I just mentioned, B2B2C fintech wave. It's an absolutely big move. We have a traditional European giant, a tier one bank, classical with a tie, with everything, and they work with a fintech. Well, it's a big fintech, Wise. Something is shifting. The tectonic plates, all tectonic plates are shifting. But this is not just a UX upgrade. It's basically proves that exists a huge battle for margin and relevance in cross-border payments and cross-border solutions. Banks achieved the level when they have good margins in almost everything, in almost all kind of products, and they now go and dive into things that they never looked. It's cross-border payments, because Wise and after that Revolut and other players proved that cross-border payments, specifically in European Union, are very, very important, because we basically live in one single economic area, custom area, but countries, we're still living in separate countries with even if the banking system is integrated, it's still different IBANs and so on. So cross-border payments are it's important. Plus, a big number of immigrants in European Union who are sending money outside of European Union, to their home countries. It's also very important. And if at least we cannot, I mean, European Union cannot stop this, flux of money getting out from European Union, at least to control it and to receive and to gain fees. Unicredit shows it's a first innovation, the first step. I'm sure other banks will come after that. Maybe we'll have some interesting collaborations between, I don't know, Revolut and other banks. But, well, by the way, Revolut is not the first time when they are doing some kind of a collaboration with the banks. But in this field, it's absolutely unique. It's I read somewhere in the comments, someone said like possibly this is a Trojan horse for Taiwan banks. I don't know. I still have a feeling and I'm optimistic that this is the future for tier one banks as Unicredit. But who knows? Maybe it's a Trojan horse.
Or maybe it's trying horse for Swift, because being the network which is not up to the needs of the consumers, it's a big issue. So it's not a threat to the banks, it's more the threat to the institution which is facilitating a lot of payments, but still is not up to the technical needs or even consumer needs. So let's see. And despite of being in the middle of the summer, we have really good news. So thank you for listening to us today. I think that's it. And please join us in social networks. Please subscribe to our channel in YouTube, and we will be glad to see you on our next episodes.
It was a pleasure to speak with you, Iger. This week was a very, very good and very interesting week. Happy weekend, as I mentioned at the beginning, to all of you. Subscribe to our channel, provide comments, write to us. We are receiving each week some comments and some emails, and we are happy to see the feedback. Waiting for much more feedback. We try to innovate, to improve ourselves, and we hope that the interest to our weekly harvest review will increase. Thank you very much for those who are listening and watching us.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Bye bye.